In this video, we'll be taking a look at 5 college football games happening on August 30th, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 10 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 5 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Texas versus Ohio State. The Texas Longhorns and the Ohio State Buckeyes are set to clash on Saturday in college football action right there in Ohio Stadium. Texas looks pretty solid heading into this big-time season kickoff, mainly because they've got that payback vibe going strong after getting their hearts ripped out by Ohio State in last year's playoff semis. That defeat crushed their shot at the championship and stuck with them all through the summer, pushing everyone to grind harder. These days, with Arch Manning taking over as the main guy under center and a defense that's got almost all its big names back in the mix, the Longhorns seem ready to turn things around. On the other side, Ohio State is throwing Julian Sayin into the fire, a guy who's basically a first-year player stepping up for his debut start against one of the nastiest defensive lines out there. Texas doesn't even need to send extra rushers most times, since dudes like Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill Jr. can bring the heat on their own, letting the back end play tight coverage and push Sayin into making tough passes under duress. That's a rough setup for any rookie signal caller, especially facing a unit that's all about smashing the pocket and tricking you into errors. On top of that solid rush up front, Texas brings a ton of experience across the board and a steady hand from the coaches, which should help them run their stuff smoother than the other guys. The way Steve Sarkisian sets up his plays attacks, defenses from side to side and deep downfield, and with Manning's knack for keeping drives alive or spotting things before the snap, it ought to throw Ohio State's crew off their game. Sure, the Buckeyes have some skilled players on defense, but they're swapping out every starter along the line and getting used to a fresh play caller, which could lead to some shaky moments. Throw in that extra fire from wanting revenge, and Texas just feels like the team that's more locked in. They've handled the spread in their last 5 openers without a hitch, while Ohio State has struggled, going just 1-4 against the spread in their recent games versus top 10 squads. If the Longhorns come out on top in turnovers and dictate the pace, they've got everything they need, plus that burning drive, to walk out of Columbus with a huge victory that says a lot. The deal here is Ohio State rolling with a fresh face at quarterback in Julian Sayin, who's jumping into a brutal situation right off the bat against Texas for his very first start this season. And even though Arch Manning has gotten some reps before, this road test as the starter against the team that just won it all is still a wild challenge. I'm figuring both sides will take a little time to settle in and test each other out, and overall, this matchup probably stays in that lower range, like the 40s or so. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Syracuse versus Tennessee. On Saturday, the Syracuse Orange are set to clash with the Tennessee Volunteers over at Mercedes-Benz Stadium for some Week 1 college football action. These two squads both put up strong showings last year, finishing with the exact same win-loss marks. Tennessee edged them out on offense by putting up about 2 more points each game, and their defense was downright stingy, giving up just 16 points on average. That's a full 13.1 fewer than what Syracuse allowed. Tennessee didn't drop a single game on their own turf last season, going a perfect 7-0 at home, and they handled the spread in 7 of 12 tries, while Syracuse managed a solid 4-2 record away from home. Syracuse had a standout run in 2024, but repeating that magic this year looks tough with all the fresh faces stepping in and a schedule that's no joke. Tennessee's defense should keep them hanging around the top 25, but the offense has way too many unknowns to think they'll sneak back into the playoff picture. Tennessee's been rolling strong in their own backyard, and I'm betting they handle things smoothly in this one, getting that extra push from the fans packing the stands for the first game of the year. As our first pick for this matchup, the Tennessee Volunteers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Expect the defenses to steal the show in this one, since Tennessee's bringing back one of the best groups up front in the Southeastern Conference for getting after the quarterback, and Syracuse has a bunch of experienced guys in the back who kept passers under 58% completions last year. Neither side was great at cashing in close to the goal line a season ago, and now both attacks are sorting out changes with new players in important roles. Factor in some likely sputters on third downs that kill momentum, and you've got a setup where the score probably doesn't climb too high. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Alabama versus Florida State. The Alabama Crimson Tide are gearing up to face off against the Florida State Seminoles in some Week 1 college football action over at Doak Campbell Stadium this Saturday. I figure Alabama's got the upper hand as the stronger squad overall, and even though I'm counting on Florida State to bounce back a bit after that rough ride in 2024, this just feels like a tough draw for their first game out. Thomas Castellanos went and stirred things up by talking smack about Alabama during the lead-up, and sure, I get the bravado, but picking a fight with the Tide like that might backfire. They're the kind of team that'll make sure you don't forget it. Alabama holds a clear advantage along the trenches, and I'm betting they pull this one off without much drama. As our first pick for this matchup, the Alabama Crimson Tide to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Both squads are leaning on some lively quarterbacks to drive things this year, but when they're firing on all cylinders, these are groups that really shine with their defenses calling the shots, so look for a gritty, low-output scrap here. Down in Tuscaloosa, the under hit in 6 of the Tide's final 10 outings last year, with their defense clamping down to under 25 points given up in each of those last 8 clashes. And over in Tallahassee, the Seminoles saw the under cash in 7 of their past 10, while managing fewer than 20 points in 9 of them. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Nevada versus Penn State. The Wolfpack are heading out to Happy Valley this Saturday, looking to pull off a shocker against the Nittany Lions in their first home game of the year. That's a hefty spread for the kickoff to the season, but the talent difference between Nevada and Penn State is just too wide to ignore. The Wolfpack simply lack the stars and the backups to keep up. On top of that, even with such a large line, Penn State has gone 9-4 against the spread in their past 13 games as favorites of 30 points or more since 2017, and that includes a 2-1 mark last year. Sure, these early games can get messy sometimes, letting underdogs stick around longer than expected, but we've also watched some real blowouts when one side is clearly outmatched. This feels like one of those mismatches where Penn State, maybe the deepest roster out there, just rolls. As our first pick for this matchup, the Penn State Nittany Lions to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Penn State wrapped up last year ranked 5th nationally in total defense, and that unit should stay among the best again this time around. Nevada slotted in at 37th for pass defense across the country. They'll have to step up big against the ground game compared to how they handled it before, especially facing a Nittany Lions rushing attack that's got real speed and options. The real trick to holding down the scoreboard will come down to Nevada shutting off those chunk plays. I'm thinking the Wolfpack will lean hard on their own run game, try to bottle up Penn State's attack by staying in front, and force things to stay low-key overall. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. South Dakota versus Iowa State. Kicking off the college football slate with a pair of ranked squads going at it, the Cyclones pulled off a nail-biter, scraping by with a 24-21 victory that kept everyone on the edge. Digging into what went down, if you caught the action, Kansas State pretty much dictated the pace for a good chunk until the floodgates cracked open toward the end of the third quarter, and even after that, the Wildcats kept pace step for step. The whole thing turned into a messy scrap with wild swings all over, and Iowa State just happened to ride the chaos to come out on top. Factor in the high from that gritty win plus the looming showdown with their in-state rivals in the Cy-Hawk clash next up, and this screams like one of those overlooked middle games where the underdog can sneak in and cause real trouble, putting the Coyotes in a spot to pounce. Shifting focus to South Dakota for a second, they're sitting at number 5 in the Football Championship Subdivision Coaches preseason rankings, so they're no pushover. You can't sleep on them or brush them aside, not even if you're Iowa State. The setup here just reeks of a classic ambush, especially with all the wild stuff that pops off in the first week, where you almost always see at least one lower-tier squad flip the script on a big program. If you poke around for likely spots where that could happen, this one's gotta be right up there, maybe even leading the pack. No doubt about it, the Coyotes are eyeing this as their shot to shine, and if they bring their A-game while the Cyclones come out sluggish, we're not just talking about hanging around. We could see a straight-up shocker on the cards. As our first pick for this matchup, the South Dakota Coyotes to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Expect things to heat up on the scoreboard in this clash, since Iowa State's offense showed it can rack up yards even after a long trip, and South Dakota's got enough firepower from last year's high-scoring run to push back hard. The Cyclones lit it up at home plenty of times before, and with both sides likely trading blows in a potential trap spot, the points should pile up past the line. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.